good evening and welcome to the Amex Stadium, where kick-off for Brighton against Newcastle is just over half an hour away. But what a game this promises to be. We don't know, the game hasn't finished yet. It has finished now. We're just getting news as you join us here. There's been a big development at the bottom of the table. Cardiff City have lost. And with half an hour before kick-off, what welcome news for Chris Hughton's men, because Fulham have beaten Cardiff. A goal from Ryan Babel has settled things, I believe, down at Craven Cottage. So there we are. So a real incentive for Brighton to see if they can go 5 points clear. And if they can do that against Newcastle, who have been very much in form and are now safe from relegation themselves, it would give them a real cushion going into those last two games. And Cardiff know they need to win to keep their chances alive against Crystal Palace. But they've missed a real chance. Ryan Babel got the goal in the second half, but Cardiff, by all accounts, did not do enough on the day to get the points they so desperately needed. We're going to have the full classifiers in just a minute or two, but also the league tables and stuff, and then we'll take a 5-minute break and concentrate on events here at Brighton. But that's the big result of the day. Also with that, it means Southampton with that 3-3 draw today against Bournemouth at St Mary's, just down the coast from the Amex, means that Southampton are more or less safe. They're now 38 points and surely cannot be caught now. Burnley are definitely safe for next season mathematically because of that result, and the pressure's off them, and now they can play a huge part in the title race as they take on Manchester City tomorrow. And that's a game you can hear on a delayed stream on Monday afternoon. But we're live tonight here at the Amex, and a terrific occasion this really is now, and it will stir up a real cauldron atmosphere, I'm sure, as the results come in. Rotherham have actually been relegated. They've been beaten 2-1 against West Brom at the Hawthorns this afternoon, and combined with Millwall's draw at Stoke, they have been relegated. And so Rotherham go down. 4 points was the gap in the end, and Rotherham, unfortunately for them, played a game more. So commiserations to Rotherham United. Bolton Wanderers' match was postponed because the players have gone on strike, and we got the EFL looking to sort that out. Other results just going through: Scunthorpe 2, Bradford 3. Not a great result. That's a poor result really for Scunthorpe. Mansfield 1, Stevenage 2. So Stevenage playoff hopes have taken a real positive step. Luton can't win promotion today. They've lost, I believe. Lincoln, the champions, have lost at Newport. And Northampton have drawn 2-2 with Yeovil, which means Yeovil are down. They drop out of the Football League. So Yeovil out of the Football League after 16 years. They were only in the Championship some 6 years ago. And it's really sad times for the Somerset club. The only league club down in that part of the world, in Somerset, has now unfortunately gone into the Vanarama National League, where Leyton Orient, I can confirm, have also been promoted as well for next season. Well done to Leyton Orient, a great old club, and a terrific result for them. They won today. Salford finished second. Middlesbrough have given themselves a chance there. The whistle has just got at the Riverside. They've beaten Reading by 2-1, and Swansea's outside chance of the playoffs probably gone now. They drew 2-2 with Swansea. McBurney with 2 goals, but then Jared Bowen hitting the bullseye. Dicko with 6 minutes from the end, getting a point there. Right, anyway, that's most of the results in. We're now going to take a full classified check, and then after that we'll read the tables through. We'll take a 10-minute break and then concentrate on this huge game with so many huge importance between Brighton and Newcastle. So here at the Amex, let's get you the full classified check from all around the UK this afternoon. And what an afternoon it has been. So let's get the full classified check. from all around the UK. And starting with the Premier League, Brighton and Hove Albion against Newcastle is our match at 5:30. Crystal Palace 0, Everton 0, Fulham 1, Cardiff City 0, Southampton 3, Bournemouth 3, Tottenham Hotspur 0, West Ham United 1, and Watford 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 2. Now to the Sky Bet Championship. Birmingham City 1, Wigan Athletic 1. Bolton Wanderers against Brentford, match postponed. Bristol City 0, Derby County 2. Middlesbrough 2, Reading 1. Millwall 0, Stoke City 0. Norwich City against Blackburn Rovers is an evening kick-off. Preston North End 3, Sheffield Wednesday 3. QPR 0, Nottingham Forest 1. Sheffield United against Ipswich Town is a 5:30 kick-off. Swansea City 2, Hull City 2, and West Bromwich Albion 2, Rotherham United 1. Sky Bet League 1. Accrington Stanley 5, Plymouth Argyle 1. Wimbledon 2, Wycombe 1. Barnsley 2, Blackpool 1. Burton Albion 2, Luton Town 1. Fleetwood 0, Bristol Rovers 0. Gillingham 0, Charlton Athletic 2. Oxford United 2, Doncaster Rovers 2. Rochdale 1, Southend United 0. Scunthorpe United 2, Bradford City 3. Sunderland 1, Portsmouth 1. And Walsall 3, Peterborough United 0. League 2. Cambridge United 1, Morecambe 2. Carlisle 4, Crawley Town 2. Cheltenham 3, Swindon Town 2. Colchester United 2, MK Dons 0. Crewe Alexandra 4, Forest Green Rovers 3. Exeter 1, Oldham Athletic 0. Mansfield Town 1, Stevenage 2. Newport 1, Lincoln City 0. Northampton Town 2, Yeovil Town 2. Notts County 2, Grimsby Town 1. Port Vale 0, Macclesfield 1. And Tranmere Rovers against Bury is match postponed. Waterlogged pitch was made them casualties at Prenton Park this afternoon. The Vanarama National League 5-0 FC Halifax Town 2. Boreham Wood 3, Eastleigh 3. Bromley 5, Ebbsfleet 1. Dagenham Redbridge 1, Solihull Moors 1. Dover Athletic 3, Sutton 0. Gateshead 0, Barrow 2. Hartlepool 3, Salford City 2. Havant Waterlooville 0, Barnet 2. Leyton Orient 0, Braintree Town 0. Maidenhead 2, Chesterfield 0. Maidstone 0, Aldershot 2. And Wrexham 2, Harrogate Town 1. The Ladbrokes Premiership in Scotland. Celtic 1, Kilmarnock 0. Hamilton Academical 3, Livingston 3. Motherwell 4, Dundee 3. And St Mirren 1, Johnston 1. Ladbrokes Championship. Alloa Athletic 1, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 2. Dundee United 2, Falkirk 0. Dunfermline 0, Greenock Morton 1. And Partick Thistle 1, Ayr United 2. Ladbrokes League 1. Airdrie 3, Arbroath 0. Dumbarton 2, Stranraer 1. Forfar Athletic 1, Montrose 0. Raith Rovers 3, Breaking City 2. And Stenhurstmuir 1, East Fife 1. Ladbrokes League 2. Annan Athletic 3, Cowdenbeath 2. Berwick Rangers 0, Albion Rovers 3. Clyde 3, Queen's Park 0. Edinburgh City 1, Elgin City 1. And Peterhead 1, Stirling Albion 1. Danske Bank Premiership in Ireland now. Ballymena 0, Crusaders 3. Coleraine 1, Linfield 1. Glenarvan 4, Cliftonville 0. Glentoran 2, Institute 0. Newry City 0, Dungannon Swiss 1. And finally Warren Point Town 1, Ards 1. And the Premier League looks like this now. That was the full classified check. Here at the Amex, Liverpool top, as you know, with 91 points. They have a plus 64 goal difference. Manchester City play tomorrow in our delayed match, which you'll be able to hear on Monday evening. Kick-off 2:05 at Turf Moor tomorrow against Burnley. They have an 89 points with a plus 67 goal difference. Tottenham Hotspur then third. They lost at West Ham today. Wolves now take ownership of the 7th place spot. They are 4 points clear of Everton, who could only draw against Palace. Watford have the same points as Everton, but an inferior goal difference. Leicester completing the top 10 with 48 points from their 36 games. Southampton are safe. They're now 7 points clear with 2 games left. Burnley were well safe anyway. So are Newcastle, who are Brighton's opponents in our main event. But if Brighton were to win, it would be a 6 point gap to Cardiff, and they have a better goal difference. So this game, if they win tonight, Brighton, they could effectively relegate Cardiff. Not mathematically, but almost. Norwich could go into the Premier League if they win in the late game against Blackburn later. So could Sheffield United to a certain extent, provided Leeds lose their match tomorrow. West Bromwich is short of a playoff place, so will Aston Villa. Derby County to complete the top 6. It's going to go to the last day for that final spot. But the 3 relegated sides have all been confirmed. Rotherham have gone down today. Bolton Wanderers and Ipswich Town were already down there, so they've all gone. Luton Town and Barnsley still together on 91 points, but Portsmouth are still on their tail, 3 points back. It's going to go to the last day, that one, but remember, Portsmouth have a game in hand over the top 2. So too do Sunderland, incidentally. Charlton and Doncaster look like completing the playoff picture, unless Peterborough can have a really good run and win their last 2 games. Accrington Stanley, thankfully, are going to be safe. What a fantastic achievement there for John Coleman's men. Bradford City already relegated. Might have put Scunthorpe United possibly there, but it's 1 point, 3 or 4 points between the tops, probably bottom 7 or 8 clubs. Any one of those could still go down. Plymouth, Walsall and Scunthorpe, in fact, fight to live another day. Well, at least a week anyway. But it is very tight down there. Scarbat League 2, Bury's match at Tranmere was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch, so they didn't play. But Mansfield Town have taken advantage and gone within 1 point of them. MK Dons missed the chance, but they're still on 76 points, same as Mansfield. Then come Forest Green Rovers, Tranmere Rovers and Exeter City. At the bottom end, Yeovil have been relegated, so they've gone. But who will join them? That's going to be a battle between Macclesfield Town, who got a result, and Notts County, who also got a result to take it to the last day. 2 points now between them. Where's it going to all go next week? We'll have to see and find out, won't we? But it's going to be nip and tuck. And to confirm, Leyton Orient have gone up as champions today. They've played the 46 and Solihull Moors, Salford City, Wrexham, Fylde, Harrogate and Eastleigh complete the playoff picture, with Ebbsfleet, Gateshead and Sutton United and Barrow just about missing out. Well, they missed out by a little bit, but they weren't far away. Aldershot, Braintree, Hammond and Waterlooville and Maidstone all relegated from the National League. Boreham Wood stayed up by 8 points in the end. At the Ladbrokes Premiership, Celtic still not confirmed as champions yet, but Rangers have that game in hand. If they don't win that game tomorrow, then I'm certain Celtic will be champions. Aberdeen are third, Kilmarnock and Hibernian stay 4th and 5th. Hearts completed the top 6. Dundee, it looks as if they're going to be relegated, and Hamilton with a terrific win there, putting the pressure on St Mirren a little bit, who are second from bottom and might have to go into those championship playoffs to stay in the Scottish Premier League. Right, anyway, enough about the 3 o'clock games. We're going to take 5 minutes. We're going to take a little break, and then it's all about Brighton against Newcastle. The game is 15 minutes away from kicking off. So after this 5 minutes short interval, we will take a little break, and after that break, we'll give you the full lineups and the full match live between Brighton and Newcastle United. From here, from the Amex, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 5 minutes for a very, very important game that could keep Brighton in the Premier League for a 3rd season, if they win, of course. Newcastle will have something to say about it. They're already safe, but they're not coming up to make any numbers. No excuses now. Brighton have got the opportunity that they wanted. With Cardiff losing, they must take that opportunity. Will they do it? Well, you'll be able to find out in 5 minutes, when we bring you the whole game here from the Amex. Brighton against Newcastle United. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Amex now, and a lot of people a lot of the Brighton fans will have wondered now how Cardiff have got on. The news is it's an encouraging news for Brighton, because what it means is basically, now they win against Newcastle, they're effectively safe, not mathematically safe, but you know, there's still the goal difference issue, but they've got a far better goal difference than Cardiff at the moment, which could effectively relegate them tonight. As for Cardiff, they lost. They didn't start playing until Fulham scored after 79 minutes. Ryan Babel, the former Liverpool man, scoring the goal to give the already relegated side victory, and that was a terrific performance by them. So Brighton now buoyed by this, and I'm sure all the players and Chris Hughton himself, up against his former club today, Newcastle, will be well aware now that the news has fluttered through to the dressing room, and they know they need to get the result. This is JB John Stuttard on the mic here down at the Amex by good old Sussex by the Sea, and this really is could be an absolute classic. Now Brighton must play the game of their lives to give themselves that. If they win tonight, they go to 37. They go to 37 points. Remember, 37 points. They go 6 points above Cardiff if they win. And remember, the one thing that will be in their favour as well, if they were to win tonight, is the superior goal difference they have over Cardiff. So this is an important night for Brighton and Hove Albion. There's no question about that. I think this is a great opportunity for Chris Hughton's men. They must go for it tonight. They can't afford to be back to the wall job tonight. They're at home. They're in front of their own fans. They must go for it. Newcastle have done what they needed to do and stay up. And that's what they did last week. They beat Southampton by 3-1 to maintain their Premiership status. They got to 40 points last week. So too did Burnley. Now it's up to Brighton. Can they get that win required? Anyway, I've got the two names. I will repeat the news in a few moments, but just to give you the 2-11s, I'll give you the full itinerary of benches and stuff later. But this is the Brighton side that we've got confirmed. It's Ryan in goal, Bruno, Duffy, Duncan, Bernardo. Then it's Pascal Gross, Dale Stevens and Kyle. And it's Andone, Glenn Murray and Izagüero completing the Brighton lineup. Newcastle makes several changes. A little bit disappointed really from a neutral point of view that Solly March wasn't playing. I thought he was their best attacking outlet against Wolves last week, although they did play Tottenham during the week and were very unfortunate to lose that game. Newcastle line up as follows. They're already safe. Dubravka there, goalkeeper in goal. Then it's Manquillo, Fabian Schär, Fernandez, Paul Dummett, Matt Ritchie, Ayoze Perez, who's actually been in good goal scoring form. Scored a couple last week and scored the winner the other week at Leicester. John Joe Shelby, Isaac Hayden, Christian Atsu and Solomon Rondo. Their record signing Alvaron is injured, badly injured, and he's out showing now for the rest of the season. But they are safe and will fight again in the Premier League. And the question that Newcastle fans will be asking themselves: will Rafa Benitez stay and be given a big war chest by Mike Ashley, or will he go in the summer? And I know a couple of Newcastle fans who are good friends of mine, and they are quite worried, but there will be serious questions asked at Newcastle. Will Rafa stay or will Rafa go? There will be there's absolutely no doubt about that. But what I do know is it's a tremendous atmosphere here as the teams are preparing to come out of the tunnel, and what an atmosphere it really does promise to be. As I say, I'll give you the two lineups in full in another 2 or 3 minutes in case you missed them, plus substitutes as the game goes along. The referee, incidentally, is from Merseyside, Mike Dean, a referee that does have an ability to sometimes overstate himself and write his name over certain games. He's still yet to show that 100th red card yet in Premier League football. He's still on 99 red cards. Will we see that 100th today? I dearly hope not. What I'd like to dearly see is a good game of football, and Brighton Newcastle really going for it hammer and tongs. And I hope Brighton go out there, positive attitude, attack Newcastle right from the start. They've got the crowd behind them. The crowd will have been absolutely buoyed by the result at Craven Cottage. That's gone Brighton's way because Fulham beat Cardiff by a goal to nil. So if Brighton were to win here, they would effectively, not mathematically, but effectively stay up. It's important to stress this at this stage because goal difference could still play a part, but I would still wager that Brighton will stay up anyway because of their superior goal difference. But they've got to win tonight. A draw would not be the worst result in the world. It would be a 4-point gap, but Cardiff could still catch them. But it all depends on what happens. But we can't really speculate until the game is more or less underway. We're about a couple of minutes away from kick-off. The teams are out, and a rousing reception that'll get the hair standing up on the back of one's neck. Brighton know that this is a big game. There's no two ways about it. Newcastle already safe, but they won't come here all the way down to Sussex to make up any numbers. You can be assured of that. It will be a difficult game for Brighton, but they've got the capabilities to. But Newcastle will give it their best shot. Let's remind you of the two teams once again. With Brighton first, with Matt Ryan in goal. Then it's Bruno, Duffy, Duncan Bernardo, Groves, Stevens, Kayo and Andone, Glenn Murray and Izagero further forward. On the bench for the Seagulls, who really need this result, it's David Button, the goalkeeper, Gitan Bong, then it's Basuma, Lucadia, the striker, Anthony Knockout, Solly Marsh, who might be a little bit unfortunate to still be sitting on the bench, because I think last week at Wolves I was quite impressed with him as an attacking force, and he was the only one that was trying to get Brighton attacking a bit more, and Burn, number 33. Let's take a look at their opponents. Already safe, Newcastle. Big question for them, will Rafa Benitez stay or will he go next season? Well, that's the question on every Newcastle fan's lips here. Their line up as follows: De Bruyne in goal, Maquello, Cher, Fernandez and Dummett, Richie, Perez, Shelby, Hayden, Christian Atsu and Solomon Rondon. Jose Perez would be the danger man I would fancy there for Newcastle to strike fear into the heart of Brighton. On the bench for Newcastle United, you've got Carl Darlow, the former Nottingham Forest goalkeeper, who's the substitute goalkeeper today. Key, the former Swansea man. Diarmi, Muto, the Japanese player. Kennedy, the Brazilian. DeAndre Ledlin, the American international, and Bareka. Referee today, Mike Dean from the Wirral in Merseyside. And what a game it really promises to be. A white-hot atmosphere. There's no doubt about that. And I can't wait to get stuck into the whole action. The whole 90 minutes hopefully coming up for you live here on the JB Clark YouTube channel. And what a game it will be. There's no two ways about that. Earlier today, Southampton stayed up with a 3-3 draw against Bournemouth, which in theory, combined with results at Craven Cottage going against Cardiff City, kept Southampton in the Premier League. What a job Ralph Uzen-Erdel has done at St Mary's, taking over a shambles of a team at one point that was badly managed by Mark Hughes, and he's galvanised them, and he's now 2 points shy, in fact, of the 40 points target that he set. But I just watched pictures of him at the end of the game against Bournemouth, and even despite drawing 3-3, there was a carnival atmosphere, there was a great atmosphere, and the celebrations there in Southampton, they will be celebrated in that city tonight, knowing that the relegation has been fought and fought successfully. But we're all set to go here at the Amex Stadium. This game, and the whole place is buzzing here. This is it. It's all or nothing here for Brighton. They must win this game. They win, they effectively stay up. Brighton, for the record, in the blue and white stripes. Newcastle in red and black hoop shirts. And Newcastle will get us underway. Attacking the goal to our left. And this really is a big game. Now Brighton are playing 4-2-1-1, so it's Matt Ryan in goal, just to confirm it. Back four of Bernardo, Duffy and Bruno. Bruno will play it right back. And then it's Andone, Kayo and Dale Stevens. Andone on the left, Stevens on the right. And it's Gross and Izagero, the two attacking midfield players, with Glenn Murray leading the line up front as a long ball forward towards Glenn Murray. De Bruyne just getting there, and it took to over the halfway line. Bruno winning a header. Newcastle playing a 3 at the back, so it's Martin De Bruyne in goal, and then they've got a back 3 today, playing 4-3-3 with Paul Dummett, Fernandes and Cher, the 3 centre backs. And then you've got Ritchie on the left, Hayden and Shelby, the 2 central players, with Manguillo on the right. And then it's Atsu playing as the left hand side attacker, Jose Perez on the right, and Rondon in the centre. Referee Mike Dean from Wirral. We've played a minute, and it's 0-0 as Chris Hughton will have been boosted by the good news that they will have received from Craven Cottage this afternoon. Just to remind you, if you haven't already, and you've just got back from shopping or whatever with the missus, and you're listening to this game, as Brighton just take a 3 kick, we'll just come back to that in a second. A little flick on there. The sun is absolutely shining here down on Sussex by the Sea, and Brighton have won a 3 kick. Foul by Isaac Hayden. Mike Dean is the referee from the Wirral. This is what happened. It was Glenn Murray who was fouled there from behind. It's a free kick about 20 yards from goal to the left of the D, in a very good position. 3-man Newcastle wall at this moment in time. What a start this could be for Brighton here on a big day for them. Bernardo, Stevens, 2 of the 3 men over this free kick. Brighton must go for it tonight. Buoyed by the news that, remember, Cardiff lost. And Donny as well. Bernardo might fancy this. This really must be a nervous moment for everybody, and the 3 kick has been floated towards the edge of the area, and Brighton really didn't get that right on the night there, but they still have possession, crossing from the right hand side, and the ball played in, and it's easy there for Martin De Bruyne. Matt is on. Matt 57, you're underrated. Well, I think I'm not sure whether that's a compliment, but if it is, thank you very much for that. And of course you're on. You are allowed now to make your comment section. Just to remind you, the Newcastle form, they've drawn, lost 2, but they've won the last 2. They beat Leicester and Southampton in their last 2 games. And Jose Perez has scored 3 goals in those 2 victories, and he may well be the danger man for Newcastle United this afternoon. As Newcastle went forward there, ball just ricocheting off Rondon into Papa Matt Ryan. Well, it's a carnival atmosphere here at the Amex. Will it be a carnival atmosphere come finishing time around about 7:30 tonight? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But they must play positively, Brighton, if they're going to get a result here. Newcastle, remember, on 42 points. They are safe, more than safe, and will be playing Premier League football at St James's next season. But will Rafa be managing them? Well, that will be the question on everyone's lips as Shelby cuts in, plays across him from the right, headed away by Lewis Dunk, but Newcastle still have possession. Jose Perez now crosses it in towards Rondon inside the penalty area, but again, I thought Stevens and Dunk had a magnificent game at Wolves last week. When we covered them last week, I thought they played out of their skins, and certainly I think we gave, it was Duffy and Dunk, I think we gave Lewis Dunk man of the match, if memory serves me right. But there will be a battle here today, and it's good to hear from everyone. There is a very stiff breeze here this evening. Don't be deceived that it's warm, by the way, the sunshine, and that the picture I'm painting, it is quite chilly. There is, we've had Storm Hannah battening down the Ashes in recent days, of course, being massive gusts, but at least the sun has come out to play here on this lovely Saturday evening down here in Sussex, as Andoni does really well, keeps the ball in, but then loses possession here, and Matt Ritchie to break away for Newcastle. He cuts in from the left hand side, feeds John Joe Shelby, who picks the ball up on halfway, and a real opportunity here for Rafa Benitez's team now to really set their stall out. The ball in there towards Rondon there by John Joe Shelby, who crossed in from the right, and the ball's headed away for a throw in, almost level of the penalty area. It was Shane Duffy who got the header away. We play 5.5 minutes, still 0-0. In a big game, more for Brighton than for Newcastle. Newcastle are safe, let's not forget that, but they could still play a part in who goes down. Remember, Fulham already relegated, beat a very lacklustre Cardiff today by 1-0. So this gives Brighton and Hove Albion that little bit of hope, and they can still survive here on this afternoon. There's 2 more games to come after this, incidentally. So we'll play 35 at this point. Remember, we saw Liverpool win 5-0 against a very lacklustre Huddersfield side last night, and that was an important one. As Aidan picks the ball up now, just to the left of the D rather, finds Atsu, returns nicely there, turned away from Dale Stephens as if he didn't exist. Atsu going for the shot, it was charged down by Bruno. But a little worry there for Brighton as Atsu pirouetted and turned. It was a good turn by him to get away from Dale Stephens. And there was a bit of a worry there. Still might not be over yet as Ayoze Perez makes a good burst. And he's through. It's Ayoze Perez. But what a tackle that was by Duffy. No penalty at all. Duffy won the ball cleanly but gives the ball away. Brighton already under a lot of pressure here. We're coming up to 7 minutes gone. It's all Newcastle at the moment. Share goes forward but he loses out. Now Brighton can attack. And they'll attack down the left hand side. And Murray making his way into the area. It's a corner off Shelvey. So all of a sudden there, Brighton in a nutshell there, when it looks as if they were under all sorts of pressure, have turned defence into attack. But they were worried for a second or two as Ayoze Perez made his way in. And to be fair, I think he's very, very unfortunate there. Having looked at another replay, I think Ayoze Perez could and should have had a penalty, but they didn't appeal it, Newcastle. I think hindsight now, they should have tried, but they didn't, and Brighton got away with it. And have a corner to be taken on the far side. Duffy and Duncan, Murray are both in there, or all 3 of them are in there. Gross to take the corner. And what an irony this could be as the ball is swung in. Dubravka got a fist to it, but it comes to Bruno. Bruno knocks the ball forward. Murray has it on the right hand channel. Still Murray trying to get away from the defender Paul Dummett, and Dummett gets a good foot in and it's behind for another Brighton corner. Second in as many seconds. 8 minutes gone here on the JB Clark YouTube channel. The Saturday game coming to you from the Amex Stadium in Brighton. Good old Sussex by the sea. Tomorrow it's Burnley against Man City. That's a game you could hear on delay on Monday afternoon. As Gross takes the corner, this time from the right hand side. Into the penalty area he goes. There was a couple of little flicks there, which is a little bit of a worry for the Newcastle defence. And in the end, no damage was done. And still Brighton going to try and hit Newcastle here. Long ball floated in. Dubravka says that's mine, I'll have that, and takes that under no great pressure. There was no Brighton player within a 5 to 10 yard radius of him. Wasn't the best ball in from the right hand side. Just remind you of the 2 benches if you haven't already. David Button, this is for Brighton. David Button is a substitute keeper. Gitan Bong, Bissouma, Lucadia the striker, Anthony Knockaert, who's back from suspension incidentally, Solly March, who was very unlucky I think to be left out of the 11, and Byrne. For Newcastle, their substitutes bench. Carl Dowell, the substitute goalkeeper, formerly of Forest of course, Kida, formerly Swansea man, then the Army, Muto the Japanese striker, Kennedy the Brazilian, Yedlin and Bareka, and of course Mike Dean, as you well know, is the referee. And here's Paul Dummett now on the left hand side for Newcastle, plays it back to halfway, and Hayden takes possession, plays the ball back to Paul Dummett again on the left hand side. Newcastle just started to keep the ball well. Ritchie plays it out infield. Chance here for Atsu now to try and pirouette away from the very dogged Bruno, and Atsu has been fouled there off the ball. Instant yellow card there for Mike Dean, standing no nonsense there. Very harsh decision, I've got to tell you. Well, here's the incident again. Well, I think he got the ball. I think Atsu might have made a little bit of a meal of it. I think that's a harsh decision against, is it Andoni? Yes, it is. Andoni's the first player into the referee's notepad. I think the referee was a little bit overzealous there to book him. But that's the decision he's given there, Mike Dean. Chris Hughton down below me is not too impressed by that, and I have every sympathy with him, I've got to tell you. But Richie and Shelvey are two men who are capable of putting a very good ball into the area. It's a free kick left to centre, about 35 yards out. It's Richie who plays the ball in, and Brighton had enough wherewithal to get the ball out and get it out of play for a throw-in. And Newcastle now might just pin Brighton back for a bit, but Brighton must still go for it. Now, what's Mike Dean up to here? He's communicating, but I don't think there's anything untoward going on. Just to, you know, the camera panned on him for a second, but it was a very hasty decision, it has to be said, by referee Dean. Here's Richie trying to burst his way through. Bruno was there too. Now a chance here for Dummett on the left hand side, but has to play the ball back, mind you, and again, just the keeper possession here. Fernandez now to Share, and now to Shelvey just to the left of the centre circle inside the Brighton half. 11, nearly 12 minutes gone here at the Amex on the Saturday game, coming to you live. Brighton's last games are away at Arsenal, and then they face Manchester City at home, so the pressure could well be off them if they were to win this game. If they don't, want a couple of tough matches. They could be away at the Emirates, where not many teams win, unless you're Crystal Palace, of course, and Manchester City at home on the last day. What a terrifying prospect that could be. But mind you, Burnley might have a say on it tomorrow. Remember, Liverpool 2 points clear. They've got a 64 plus goal difference. Just to remind you, the title race, they've got 91 points. Man City have 89 points, 2 points back in second. And while we were talking about that, we just said Jose Perez injured, and this could be a very huge blow for Newcastle. It's just as well for Newcastle, really, that they're picking up the injuries when their fate has been sealed, knowing that they are still playing Premier League. I think he's pointing to his lower right rib, is it? Lower abdomen, maybe? Let's see how he got the injury. He chested the ball down, and he got past Dale Stevens, and away from Donkey. It was all, I think it was to do with that challenge there from Duffy. Now, did Duffy... let's just have a look at that again. Well, it's hard to tell whether that was a penalty or not, but Jose Perez did go down in a bit of a heap. Just to remind you, that bench, Kennedy's one option, Muto is another they could use. Key is another one they could also use as well. He's an attacking player, and he certainly was. Scored plenty of crucial goals in his days at the Liberty Stadium when Swansea were in the top division. Their playoff ambitions failed to have all but diminished today, where they drew 2-2 against Hull, where Jared Bowen hit the bullseye just like his namesake, the late great Jim Bowen, did all those years ago. Super smashing great. Good news, Jose Perez is okay, and he's just going off for treatment. It's just plea for rules. He'll be okay, I think, in a minute once he gets the old magic sponge. So Brighton on the attack. He gets to a temporarily down to 10 men Newcastle. They're just down to 10 men, and what an atmosphere now. Here's Bruno on the right hand side for Brighton, still inside his own half, 5 yards from halfway. Now Dale Stevens has it. Big games required really from Duffy, Lewis Dunk, and several others in red and blue this afternoon, as Andoni battles with Share on the far side. Andoni, remember, has to watch himself. Harsh yellow card against him, but having said all that, Jose Perez is back with us, but I think he'll be probably substituted. We've got 15 minutes here, and he's feeling the effects. He's wincing something rotten here. I would back I would wager a huge bet that he may well be replacing within the next 5 minutes. Right, just to remind you, Spurs lost for the first time against West Ham, they lost at the stadium, their new stadium, for the first time at White Hart Lane. Fulham beat Cardiff in the big game. Meanwhile, Glenn Murray's in with an opportunity there for Brighton, but well defended there by Matt Ritchie. And Ritchie holds off the offences of Glenn Murray. No foul on Matt Ritchie, so it's play on. Newcastle do have possession anyway. Here's Cher. Southampton 3, Bournemouth 3, finished at St Mary's, which keeps Southampton up because that, combined with the result at Craven Cottage, means they can't be mathematically caught now by Cardiff. Well done to Southampton and Ralph Hasenhuttl, who's done a terrific job taking Southampton really from despair to relative safety. They fought many a relegation battle down there in Southampton over the years. Wolves have got revenge for their cup defeat, beating Watford 2-1 at Vicarage Road, so that means now they're 4 points clear in the battle for the 7th spot, which could bring European football, provided Watford don't win the FA Cup final next month. And that's a game you can hear on the JB Clark YouTube channel in the middle of next month. And remember, for the casual person out there, we are launching a new channel next month as well, JB2, which will show non-sporting material and hopefully attract a few women to like my content as well. And meanwhile, but that's all to come next month, and that's a summer project as well. You'll be seeing more action on that channel during the summer months than you will on this channel. The football season will be over. The ball played in there towards Lewis Dunk, who heads away, but Newcastle win possession back. John Joe Shelby had plenty to say for himself. Atsu has started the game really well, finds Ritchie on the left hand side. Matt Ritchie, the former Bournemouth player, very underrated at this level, I believe, and I believe if he goes to a decent club with really good players, not saying Newcastle aren't, but you know, it's down to the management of Rafa, the way they're staying in the league year in year out. You could say the same about the Clarets and Sean Dyche. Don't place the ball into the area, just back, Ayoze Perez shoots, he scored, and the carnival atmosphere has been diminished here at Brighton as a half-injured Ayoze Perez strikes with his right foot from 6 yards out. Nothing Ryan could do. Hits the back of the net, and Newcastle put another spoke into Brighton's chances of staying up. If they're going to get the win today, Brighton, they have to come from behind. 18 minutes gone. Brighton 0, Newcastle 1, and it came from a cross really from the left-hand side from Paul Dummett. No doubt that Rondon was onside, nodded the ball back, and Ayoze Perez just probably 7, maybe 10 yards out, launched it in with his right foot, 12 yards incidentally, and hits it beautifully to the right corner. He may be half injured and have a little bit of an injury, but oh god, that's 4 goals in 3 games for Ayoze Perez now. I said he was the man in form. Boy, was I right. Brighton now must come from behind. They must get this setback out of their heads. And what the fans must do is play their part. They've got to be the 12th man for Brighton now. It's his 11th league goal of the season. Great return for Ayoze Perez. A terrific goal. And Newcastle now have got the lead. And I heard they wouldn't come here to make up any numbers. And again, my prophecies were spot on. Here's Gross now for Brighton. They've got to stay focused. They can't afford to lose a second goal. Otherwise, well, this will be good news for Cardiff at the moment. They're obviously gutted they've lost at Craven Cottage, but this gives them a bit of a lifeline, because considering they've got to play Crystal Palace in the second to last game, if they got a result there, incidentally, you would think, well, Brighton have got a better goal difference, but they draw level on points. And what a last day of the season that could be if they're still both fighting to stay in that division. Well, it's all speculative at the moment, because there's still a long way to go. We've only had 19, nearly 20 minutes in the first half, and it's 1-0 to Newcastle, and Ayoze Perez is the scorer. Meanwhile, Lewis Dunk has been fouled by Atsu, who's actually had a good start to the game. I don't think at the moment they've missed Alvaron too much. Alvaron, who got injured last week in the win over Southampton. Brighton have been held goalless in the last 775 minutes of play in the league. If you include the FA Cup as well, it's way over 650 odd minutes. 700 odd minutes. That's a long time to be without a goal. But Brighton need to find 2 if they're going to get a victory here today and not stop Newcastle from piercing their goal a second time. They've got to do what they haven't done for nearly 600 minutes, and that's score. Here's John Joe Shelby, who's again had a great start, and that's a ball towards Rondon, who surely was fouled there. And I thought that was a penalty because it looked as if he was being pushed there by Bruno. Referee Mike Dean does not want to know, and Brighton may have had a stroke of luck. Well, maybe not. Maybe the first angle was not as conclusive when he looked at it from the naked eye. It did look a clear push, but having seen a couple of replays, Bruno's just basically fingered him on the shoulder, and Rondon has gone down as if he's been shot. I think the referee may have got that right. Hard to tell from our position with the naked eye whether that was a penalty or not, but having seen a replay from another angle, I think that vindicates Mike Dean in some respects. We're coming up towards the halfway mark of the first half. We've played 21 and a half minutes gone here at the Amex Stadium. Jose Perez's goal after 18 minutes has given Newcastle a lead against Brighton, who haven't scored for nearly 600 minutes in Premier League football. Over 700 minutes if you include the FA Cup. And now they need a bit of luck now. And what it does mean, they have to come out and attack as the ball is fed in there towards the back post. Again, good defence by Newcastle. If they play like they did when they came to Burnley back in November, then it's going to be a tough hold as per Brighton, but they are a good side, Brighton, on their day. Here's Bruno now, knocking it forward in towards Glenn Murray. Chests it. Nice little turn. Finds Bruno again on the right. Brighton have to go for it here. They can't afford any more mistakes. And Bernardo holding the ball at well. Stevens winning possession. 22 and a half minutes gone. We're heading towards the halfway mark of the first half here at the Amex. It's Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Newcastle 1. Big game this at the bottom of the Premier League. And at the moment it's looking very, very bleak for Brighton at the moment. We have full delay commentary on Monday of tomorrow's match, kicking off at 2:05 between between Burnley rather and Manchester City, a game that really does give us things at the top. I don't know what these spots are about. Can we just have these comments please in good old English and we can read them out? Nice to have you with us, but let's have some comments please. We've been a little bit shy on them. It's nice to interact with you listeners. As a long ball threaded forward, and again good defensive work there by Bernardo on the far side. Did really well. But so far I don't understand what that says. Please can you spell? Please can we have a spell please? We'll check it. If there's any swear, and by the way, don't swear, it's a family show. Thank you very much. Or any say anything that's over the top derogatory. Please keep your comments nice and clean. It is a family show. Anyway, here's John Joe Shelby for Newcastle United, winning by 1-0, and the ball comes forward and it's sucked in towards Atsu. Good running again. Chances here for Newcastle and a corner given. And they're under a lot of pressure here, Brighton and Hove Albion. Looks like Perez has shrugged off that injury. 24 minutes just over gone. And Newcastle really playing with a real swagger, a real confidence with them, and putting them under huge pressure. Who do I want to win? I'm strictly neutral. That's why I'm the commentator. I don't support any of these two teams, but this is a crucial battle here for Brighton, but they're losing to Newcastle at the moment. Another question of who I want to win is who plays better on the day. Bruno heads back to the goalkeeper. Of course, my team Burnley in action tomorrow. You'll be able to hear delayed coverage of that on Monday afternoon. Kick-off tomorrow for that game is at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, there's a Brighton player gone down. Mike Dean's got his yellow card out for the second time this evening. We'll just check who that is. It's Andoni who was fouled there. He was the first one that was in the box. It's Paul Dummett, in fact, he gets the caution card. None of the ball, but plenty of Andoni. And Brighton have a free kick in a very promising position almost level with the edge of the Newcastle penalty area on the right hand touchline, near side to where I'm seeing it, and Pascal Gross. And they could do with a brilliant set piece play from him. Thank you, Basie. Thank you for subscribing, and hit that notification bell for any other videos and live streams and whatnot. And don't forget JB2 coming up as the ball is floated into the penalty area from Gross. And the goal kick, I think, has been given. No, yes, a goal kick's been given. Brighton thought it was a corner. Well, the linesman, I noticed, gave a goal kick. Let's just see who it came off. It was Gross with a free kick. There may have been an offside, maybe against Glenn Murray. Yeah, if it was offside, then it might have been at least a quarter of a yard in it. The linesman was definitely eagle-eyed there. The Brighton fans must get behind their team and make it difficult for Newcastle. They've got to be the 12th man this afternoon, or this evening rather. This is an important game. We'll be living until just after 7:30 here for this Saturday game, coming to you from the Amex Stadium. The relegation battle. We concentrated on the battle for the Premier League title last night when Liverpool put in a 5-star performance at Anfield against Huddersfield to win 5-0. So the goal difference has hauled them back somewhat as well, but they still trail Manchester City. Well, it's hard to tell, Basie, who's going to stay up at this moment in time. I don't like to make any rash predictions, but it's just a question of who wants it more. I'm just pleased that Burnley, my team, are staying up. We've got 40 points. The pressure's off us against Manchester City, and we could play a huge part in the title race tomorrow in our delayed match coming to you on and we'll be streaming that live on Monday. We'll be recording the commentary tomorrow and streaming it on Monday afternoon around maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Not sure what time it will actually be, but you will be able to hear it and hear my opinions on the game. But a little statistic here that'll buoy us Clarets, actually, just to going off topic for a second, as John Joe Shelby finds Atsu, who in turn finds Aiden, who in turn finds Richie on the left hand side. We'll come back to that little statistic I was going to talk about in a second, because Newcastle are on the break here. Remember, Newcastle are already safe as houses, as Hayden put a lovely ball over to the far side and Manquillo just chested it down rather nonchalantly there, and Newcastle really played with some great confidence, and why not, having won their last 2 games. But the ball this time was a bit wayward from Aiden, and out of play on Jose Perez, and out of play on the far side. Right, we're just looking at the goal again. Good chest back, in fact, by Rondon, and a terrific right-footed finish by Jose Perez. A terrific shot. Not even the best goalkeepers in the world could have saved that, so no blame really attached to that ride. It was just a cracking little goal, really, for Jose Perez, who's, as I say, scored 4 goals in his last 3 games. Got 1 against Leicester 2 weeks ago. Got a brace against Southampton last week, and now he scored tonight. Right, back to the statistic I was going to talk about. And us Burnley fans are buoyed by the fact that every Premier League season that Burnley have competed in, we've always seemed to have won against the reigning Premier League champions. I'll just go through the list. 2009, previous year's winners, Manchester United were beaten at 1-0 in the first match at Turf Moor in the league in that particular division, in the top 5 for 33 years. And then in 2015, the previous season's champions, Manchester City, were also humbled 1-0. George Boyd with the goal that night. And then in 2017, the season after Leicester had surprisingly won the title, Leicester City were beaten by a Sam Vokes goal in the 85th minute. A game that we did cover live on this YouTube channel, and that was one bad. And then only last season, in a game that was covered delayed by the Jamie Corritt YouTube channel, we went to Chelsea, had won the league the previous season, and beat them 3-2. They went down to 9 men, so I remember, Chelsea, and Stephen Ward scored an absolute crackaroonie to put Burnley 2 up. Sam Vokes got a couple of goals in that game as well. But that is tomorrow, and it will be streamed on Monday afternoon in a Clarets game delayed special. And the reason why we're doing that is because it is affecting the title race, and if Burnley were to get a result, it would be crucial. But in this relegation scrap, it may well, if it stays the same, go to another week, because Brighton are not doing their bit. Good news really for Neil Warnock and for Cardiff City at the moment, because this is an important game. This is Bruno for Brighton. Now Dale Stevens and Pascal Gross. Now Shane Duffy finding Lewis Dunkey's centre-back partner. They put in a colossal performance at Molineux last week in a game I covered, and I was very impressed by the pair of them. Here's Bruno now. I'm just very surprised that Solly March is not playing tonight so far, and I think if they're 1-0 down and with half an hour to go, I think Solly March could be the man that could turn it. Jose Perez is still feeling the effects actually, but he's carried on, and he's showing tough stuff. But I think his race could be run at the end of it, because there's going to be a change in the offing. It looks like Kennedy is going to come on for Newcastle, as Richie Dale takes the throw down on the near side. Half an hour gone. Played 31 and a half minutes. I should tell you. If you wonder where Russ Burnett is, our regular contributor, he was due to commentate with us, but he's covering for local radio, local Sheffield radio today. He's covering the Sheffield United match. Yeah, you'll be back. I know you'll be back in 5 minutes. Go and have your tea. I know it's tea time in a lot of homes up and down the country. I'm having mine after the game. A nice microwave meal for one. Us commentators lead a very hectic and very unhealthy lifestyle, I can tell you. 2 minutes gone, and no more action now for Jose Perez. Let's hope it's just a precautionary measure and it's nothing too serious. It did look very painful when he first did it, but he was still able and fit enough to score the goal that divides the two teams, and he's getting a good rousing ovation, to be fair to him, and I don't think there's much doubt about that. Well done to him. But he's injured, unfortunately, sadly, and he won't be able to carry on in the game, which is a bit of a disappointment. But at the end of the day, Newcastle have made a change. Kennedy now on, but that's a good sign maybe for Brighton there. But Perez really struggling there. That's sad to see. But Brighton, meanwhile, on the pitch, have got themselves a corner on the right hand channel. That does not look on the quadrant to me, but maybe it is. Maybe it's just on the paint. It doesn't look on the quadrant. It's very hard to tell really from where we're sitting, as this corner comes in from Gross, deep corner, but Newcastle deal with that no problem at all. So no, there's going to be absolutely no controversy for that one in any case. And the ball back by Bruno to Matt Ryan, midway inside his own half, kicks right footed midway towards the Newcastle half, almost towards the edge of the area on the left hand side. No game of head tennis. Merry going for the second ball, loses out that time. Then the third ball is one. Gross tries to knock the ball towards the Newcastle area, but Newcastle had enough red shirts back to quell the danger. They're playing in white shorts and red and black socks, incidentally. Brighton in white shorts and blue stockings to go with their blue and white striped shirts, their famous blue and white striped shirts. Don't want to go the same way as another team wearing that particular colour, Huddersfield Town, who have already been relegated and look like finishing rock bottom of this year's Premier League. 34 gone in terms of minutes. Newcastle still leading for that 18th minute goal by Jose Perez, but he's been replaced due to injury, replaced by the Brazilian Kennedy. And here's John Joe Shelby, 10 yards inside the Newcastle half, or the Brighton half rather, plays it to Maguello. Now Shelby takes the ball back again. Again, Newcastle just playing the ball around and playing a little bit of champagne football, if you like. They're playing with real confidence, real swagger, and playing without fear or pressure, because they know that they're staying in the Premier League next season. The pressure's all on Brighton at the moment. They must get a positive result. A draw might not be the worst result in the world. It would take them 4 points clear of Cardiff, which is still a psychological blow, but it would not make them absolutely safe at all. Here's Richie though. Newcastle still keeping possession here, but this is very, very bad news here for Brighton, who need to at least not lose this game. Draw with as regards worst case scenario, they're going to have a worst case scenario, draw the game. But at the moment, it's not looking good. And Newcastle just keeping the ball with real precision here as Kennedy lays the ball in. Real opportunity here for Newcastle. And Matt Ryan comes out. And that was a really good save. It was Fabian Schär, I think, of all people, that just charged through from the right-hand channel. Played a 1-2 with Kennedy. And almost an opportunity there. And I can tell you very much so that this is a great result. Any Blades fans listening in, Russ Vernon's got some very good news for you, because he's just got to half-time in his game, and it's 1-0 to Sheffield United against Ipswich. That game, incidentally, I give you false information during the classified. It wasn't 5:30 as I initially thought. It was 5:20, because there's another game at sort of like 7:45, I think, between Norwich and Blackburn. Of course, Russ is a Leeds supporter, so this is probably the worst result he could have had at the moment, because he's a Leeds fan. But Leeds must win tomorrow to keep their chances are still of automatic promotion very much alive. Although it looks like it's going to be playoffs the way Sheffield United are playing at the moment. Ipswich, of course, already relegated. But Sheffield United go up well done to them, and to Chris Wilder. Not got a big budget down there at Bramall Lane, and what he's done with that young team at Sheffield United has to be commended. And if they do go up, it's a deserved promotion, and that's nothing to rub it into Russ or anything like that. I know he's a big Leeds fan, but Leeds still have a second chance to go through the playoffs. But they've got West Brom, Aston Villa still in there, and then there's anyone from 3 or 4 teams. As the ball comes forward, and Atsu made a good run. It's just confirmed it was a 5:15 kick-off, and it's 7:30 for the other game. Meanwhile, here in this crucial 6-pointer here at the Amex, I have to say, Schär, if he'd have gone down there, because he didn't get any of the ball there, the Brighton defender Dunk, if he'd have gone down there, then I think Mike Dean might have been liable to give a penalty. To be fair to Fabian Schär, he kept his feet and just needed to prod it round the goalkeeper, and if he kept his balance and hit the target, it would have been 2-0. Just to remind you guys that the delayed game tomorrow, which will be between Burnley and Manchester City, a crucial game in the title race. Burnley might have a say in it tomorrow. I'll have a chance of winning it as well. Here's John Joe Shelby, 35 yards out, tries the shot. It goes sailing over the crossbar and behind for a goal kick. Just if you tuned in late, a goal for Iosi Perez after 18 minutes from around about 11 yards range, just to the right of the penalty spot, has given Newcastle the lead. But Perez has picked up an abdominal injury, it looks like to me, and has had to be replaced a few minutes ago by Kennedy, the Brazilian. Brighton haven't really offered too much, I'm afraid, as an attacking force in a game they really need to get something from. A draw would not be the worst result in the world, albeit worst case scenario. They can't afford to lose this one, Brighton. Considering that Cardiff have lost, this is better news for Cardiff. Chris Hughton knows if they can. The only way they can do it, they haven't scored now for nearly 600 minutes in Premier League football, Brighton, and that could well be a difference. They do have a free kick 10 yards inside the Newcastle half from the right hand side. It's against Matt Ritchie, and Ndone going down there. I'm not sure if it should have caused a reaction like that, to be fair, but he's up and about on his feet again, and Ndone, so a free kick in a very promising position to the Seagulls. How they will give for a lucky break at this stage of proceedings. 1-0 still to Newcastle. Everybody in practically red and dark blue are back. The dark blue hoops are back. Gross to take the free kick in towards the area, towards the far side. But once again, Newcastle, stout defensive jobs there being done. And Brighton really just not offering much as an attacking force. This is worrying times for any Seagull fans watching at this moment in time. Brighton 0, Newcastle United 1. Shelby, who's had plenty to say in that midfield, certainly running the show for me in that midfield, and he's playing lovely 40-50 yard balls. He's played a 30 yard pass down to the far side. Atsu now playing a short ball. Now Shelby, real opportunity to cross in from the right, and he does. Can't find Rondon. Ball goes into touch, past the left-hand post. Goal kick for Brighton. 4.5 minutes to half-time, and there's a worried looks I've noticed on a lot of the Brighton fans' faces. This is no good for the nerves. There'll be nails bitten around this stadium, I'm sure, but if it stays the same at half-time, it gives Chris Hughton a chance to go in, take stock. He's got a good bench. Just to remind you of the Brighton bench, incidentally, they've got David Button, the goalkeeper, Gitan Bong, Bissouma, Lucadia, Anthony Knockaert, who can cause problems, Sully March, who again, like Knockaert, can cause problems. I think he's a terrific player, probably one of the best wingers I think you have at the club, and Burn. They're the subs that could transform it. Lucadia can score goals, but they need a bit of luck, just like they did in that cup quarter-final, you may remember, at the New Den, when they looked dead and buried at 2-0, remember, against Millwall, and somehow came back. And they need a goalkeeping. David Martin. I think it wasn't David Martin. It was David Martin who was in goals that day. That could get them back in the hunt. Maybe they used up all their 9 lives at the New Den. I don't know that afternoon, but I tell you what, it was a fantastic afternoon's football down in South London. On the subject of Millwall, just to remind you that Millwall have stayed up. Their draw at home to Stoke today, combined with the sad news, and I know Russ will be disappointed as well, being from round there. Rotherham have lost their championship status. They were leading, in fact, against West Brom for a long time. Then Jay Rodriguez and a late goal condemned, I'm afraid, Rotherham to their fate, but they battled bravely, scored some very good results as well in their season there. And it's just sad really that it hasn't gone for them this season, but they'll be favourites to go back from League One next season. I think they'll be red hot favourites. I don't think there's much doubt about that. No answers yet to see who will replace the 3 teams that have gone down from the Championship for next season. Luton and Barnsley locked together on 91 points, with Portsmouth 2 points further back, but they have a game in hand. Sunderland are not out of the equation just yet in that particular league. As we come up to the final 2 minutes of the first half here, this 6-pointer definitely for Brighton anyway. Newcastle are safe, remember, and Donny now breaking forward now for Brighton, but he has to go back, and Donny again, he's been in the wars, he's been fouled, but the referee thinks there might be a good advantage here for Brighton, and that's sensible refereeing, getting the game going again. Here's Bernardo now. Oh, just a bit of a slip there from Andoni as he attempted to cross the ball in from the left hand side, and that was a great situation there. It was a good advantage played really by Mike Dean, trying to get the game flowing. I like that sort of refereeing, and just letting the game flow as much as he can. Just to remind everybody that the JB man in the match will be in operation from the 65th minute. And I'll just remind you, just briefly, how you can vote. Just put the name of your chosen player and then hashtag it with hashtag JBMLTM, I should say. But that I will remind you again in the early stages of the second half, and the votes will open when the 65th minute mark will come, and I'll remind you again at that point when the voting is open, and then the vote will close after 90 minutes. Meanwhile, the earlier challenge on Andoni, some minute and a half ago by Matt Ritchie, he picks up the yellow card. It was a nasty little challenge. Russ will be back with us after 7 p.m. and he will give us news on events at Bramall Lane. So we'll see you then, Russ, and hopefully any Sheffield United fans watching, listening to this, will be hoping that Russ brings the Blaze fans good news. But great to see you back, Basie. Great to have you with us, and of course we'll have that JB man in a match in the second half. Mind you, with a minute to go here, well, less than 10 minutes, 10 seconds of normal time to go. Brighton 0, Newcastle 1 in maybe 2 minutes, I reckon. Do I like Richarlison? Yes, I do. I think he's a terrific striker, and Everton, I think we'll see. I think Everton have done much better with him this season. Could still finish in the top 7. It could be a tall order now after that 0-0 against Crystal Palace. as I predicted. 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. Just to remind you, well, we're taking a 10-minute break, so you will hear a little bit of you will hear nothing but just buzzing noises because I'll have the mic switched off. But don't worry, I will be back well in time for the second half. We're just taking a 10-minute break so I can just relax the throat and then bring you the full second half commentary. We'll be on the air until around 25 to 8 this evening, as this Saturday game now comes rapidly towards half time. Our big featured game this evening, featuring Brighton, who are in desperate trouble. They were started the night 3 points above the drop zone with Cardiff's loss. They're on 34 points, Brighton, and of course Cardiff had 31. Cardiff lost today. Newcastle got another injury, so I'll get back to that comment in a minute. Fabian Schär has been fell there by Glenn Murray, and I'm surprised Murray has not picked up a booking, because that was a bit of a naughty tackle there, and you've seen some yellow cards brandished again today by Mike Dean that less worse challenges than that. Might have a little bit of time added on at the end of time added on here. And now it's been confirmed that Brighton have not scored in exactly 600 minutes of Premier League play. Not an open play goal or a set piece goal. They haven't scored any type of goal in 600 minutes of Premier League football. That is a massive concern. And we played 6 seconds over the allotted 2 minutes, and Chris Hughton now has probably got the biggest 15 minutes of his managerial life now to work his magic on this Brighton team, because they're in big trouble. A goal after 18 minutes by Ayoze Perez, who later went off injured to be replaced by the Brazilian Kennedy, has given Newcastle the lead. I have to tell you that Brighton have offered next to nothing really in attack. It's been so simple for Newcastle defensively. I don't think Martin de Bruyne from memory has had any significant shots to save, and Brighton now need to pull their fingers out and come back with the biggest comeback maybe since Tiger Woods. They have to do what they haven't done for over 600 minutes now: score. If they're going to get anything from this game, even a draw now, they still need to score. Just answer this question from football fan Reese Carter. Nice to have you with us. If you haven't subscribed, Reese, we'll be delighted to have you as a subscriber. Do I like Alan Lennon? Yeah, I think he can be a good player on his day. Delighted to have him at Burnley, but he's been injured, so we haven't really seen much of him to really comment too much about him. But I think he's still a class act even at his age. I've been an admirer of him since he broke into the as a youngster at Leeds United many moons ago. Right, anyway, so the situation here down in Sussex is a very bleak one for Brighton at the moment. They trail Newcastle by a goal to nil. Ayoze Perez, shot from 12 yards into the back of the net, has now given Newcastle a real impetus, and now it's really up to Brighton to really try and do something they've not done for the previous 600 minutes. Score a goal, maybe score 2 if they're going to have designs of winning it. It's going to be a tall order in the second half. We're going to take 10 minutes, but don't go anywhere, because you'll find out what happens after this 10-minute break. But the scoreline here at the Amex as we leave you for 10 minutes, it's Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Newcastle 1. Be back with you after this 10-minute break. Well, welcome back to the South Coast. Just to give you a score update from the game at Bramall Lane. Scott Hogan's goal still. There's a difference between Sheffield United at the moment and in their match against newly relegated Ipswich Town, or just already relegated Ipswich. There has been a change, incidentally. Solly March has now come on for the start of the second half. I will confirm when who he replaced in a moment or two. I would have thought it might have been Andoni or Izagero, who didn't really get into that game enough, and I think Solly March could be a better outlet than any of those players whatsoever. As we get underway at the start of the second half, and so we'll double check that for you. Ryan in goal, Bernardo, Dung, Duffy, Bruno. Solly March is now in there. Kyle, Stevens, Gross, Izagero, Murray. So it looks as if Andoni's the one who's been replaced. Newcastle still unchanged. They've made one change. Kennedy coming on for the injured Jose Perez, whose goal separates the two teams. Meanwhile, Andoni trying to get Izagero trying to get Brighton moving. Here's Gross. Solly March will play on the right, I would have thought. The long ball in there, looking towards Glenn Murray. Brighton now have rung the change. Now can they get something from this game that will put the pressure right back on Cardiff City? The gap between the two sides is 3 points. And it looks like, yes, Andoni was the one who went off. There's been a little bit of an injury scare there for Brighton as Izagero tries to thread the ball forward. Brighton have won a free kick, foul on Gross. Kyle is the man injured, just doing a bit of stretching there, but Chris Hughton will have laid into these troops at half time and said, right, you need to pull your socks up because you need to have the biggest second half you've ever had in your professional careers. This next half could be so crucial to Brighton's destiny for next season. Where will they be playing their football? As the free kick is floated in there towards the area, header one and just wide of the right hand post, and it was Glenn Murray who got a little flick there. Wasn't bad, but I think the Brocker had it covered. There's going to be another change, in fact, for Brighton. It looks as if Kyle will not be able to continue, so it looks as if Basuma is going to come on. So a second quick change in succession. They brought on Solly March at half time. This does not look good for Brighton and Hove Albion at this stage of proceedings. This really is bad news. I wonder how he's done it here. Has he twisted something? Has he pulled a muscle or something? Well, he's pulled his hamstring by the looks a bit, the back of it as well, and they're so painful, and it looks as if Kyle's race is run maybe for the season. And I'm not sure. There's very great doubts that he'll be able to continue now, because Bazuma is almost stripped and ready to go with the rest of this important match. And with the scoreline at the moment, reading how it is, this is not good news. So Kyle has to come off. They were booed off at half time, you may have heard. Now they need a performance like no other now if they're going to get 3 Premier League points, which would take them 6 clear with a better goal difference than Cardiff. But they need to score and need to get a positive response in the second half. Remember, Sheffield United are winning their game. A draw or victory for Norwich in their match with Blackburn later on tonight will see them promoted as well, back into the Premier League for the first time since 2016. After a 3-year absence, Norwich could be back at the top table of English football. A traditional proper club in deepest Norfolk. Meanwhile, it's a chance here for Rondon, who hits his shot against the defender as he shot him just to the right of the D, just outside the area. But it was well blocked by, I think it might have been Lewis Dunk there. And again, bodies on the line. But Brighton must go for it. They've got Solly March on. I think Solly March is a fantastic player. Brighton have been forced to use their second change, so both Marsh and Basuma on. Kennedy the only change in force for Newcastle. replacing the injured Jose Perez, whose goal after 18 minutes divides the two teams. Newcastle, remember, already safe from relegation. They've got well over 40 points, so they're okay. They're safe as houses. They can now enjoy the rest of the season and enjoy the season, and their performances so far in the last 2 or 3 games have been exceptional. Here's Shelby. What a lovely ball with the outside of his foot, and well defended there by Lewis Dunk, because that could have easily got through to Christian Atsu, who was making a good run through the centre. Newcastle are taking the goal to our right, incidentally, where all their fans are congregating behind Matt Ryan's goal, and they trouble in numbers. Whatever the distance to Newcastle fans, they are the loyalist supporters, certainly in English football terms. They are the loyalist as well, and they're the most passionate. Here's Manguello for Newcastle, down the right hand channel. Good tackle there by Izagüero. It's a corner for Newcastle. 5 minutes gone into the second half. The light on Newcastle faces, glum faces at the moment for Brighton fans, unless they can find a goal from somewhere. They haven't managed to hit the back of the net for over 600 minutes, which makes depressing reading for certain fans from East Sussex. Meanwhile, Matt Ritchie, who used to play trade not far down the south coast at Bournemouth, it's next door to Sussex in Dorset, takes the corner towards the near post. A little worry there for Brighton. They didn't really get that away, but Newcastle couldn't profit. There was an appeal there maybe for hands inside the penalty area, maybe. There were 1 or 2 quizzical looks I thought there towards referee Mike Dean, but nothing given, as Dunk wins the header again for Brighton. They need to get forward. They have to attack Newcastle. They can't afford to sit back and defend all the time. They need to get Solly Marsh into the game. We haven't seen him yet with 6 minutes of the second half gone. It's been practically down the left hand side. They need to get the ball somehow over to the right hand side to get Solly Marsh involved, because I think Solly can cause them 1 or 2 problems there. Here's John Joe Shelby, who's had a terrific game. Just to remind you, folks, in just over 15 minutes, just under 15 minutes from now, the voting will open for the JB Man of the Match. All you have to do to register your votes and to make it count is put the name of the player of your choice, and you hashtag it with the hashtag JBMOTM, and that will count as a vote towards our Man of the Match. Okay, so you're choosing the Man of the Match tonight. Meanwhile, here in the massive game here at the foot of the table, certainly for Brighton, they need to win this game. Dale Stephens dispossessed there. Was there hands against Dale Stephens? I think there was, but it might have been, well, his arms went down by his side. It was a deliberate attempt, and Newcastle maybe could and should have had a penalty. It may have been close in, but his arms were out. If they were down by his side, you could understand why the referee didn't give it. But I think Newcastle may have a legitimate penalty claim there. They certainly had one in the first half. I actually thought Rondon had made a meal of the clash with Bruno, but I didn't notice. And I was watching the rerun back at half time, and they zoomed in on the feet, and in fact Bruno took his standing foot, and that could have led to a penalty. Meanwhile, Murray in the 6-yard area, and they got Solly Marsh in for the first time, and he put a fantastic cross in from the right hand channel, and Glenn Murray almost making it pay, and Solly Marsh really making the difference, taking on his man, getting a half a yard of space. And if Murray was a little bit more braver and got a little bit more accurate with his header, that might have been the equaliser for Brighton. Better from the Seagulls. Much better from them. If they can get Solly Marsh on the ball, he's capable on his day of really causing defences, certainly on the right hand side, on the left hand side of defences, plenty of problems. Bruno trying to leave it for Ryan, and Ryan gets it away, the Australian goalkeeper, who's been a virtual spectator really in the second half. Still 1-0 to Newcastle. Goal after 18 minutes from Jose Perez. It does seem a lifetime ago now. Here's Atsu drumming down the right hand side. Infield to Aiden. Now a chance again for Atsu now from Rondon's pass. Rondon. Atsu's away. Good tackle. Good tackle that was. Izagüero just got back in the nick of time. And Atsu just about for a second or two there from the 1-2 from Wandon. He was about to pull the trigger, the former Everton man, and what a challenge that was. And it's a throw-in level with the 6-yard box of Newcastle. Manquilla's taken it and gets the ball back. Now in field to Atsu, who runs into the penalty area from the right hand side. Back to Shelby, 25 from goal. Chipped in there towards Hayden inside the penalty area, and again Lewis Stone got his foot in. Maybe Hayden should have controlled it, one touch then shot. Nice little chip in there. Should have had the shot there, but allowed Lewis Dunk to seize on the situation. Brighton still pinned back in their own half with almost 10 minutes of the second half gone. Ritchie with the corner now for the Seagulls. They need a goal here, Brighton, but they're not at the right end. A second Newcastle goal would be catastrophic. Manguillo chips the ball out towards the far side. But Brighton win possession, and Bruno was surely tripped there and will surely get the free kick. And Brighton will have a bit of respite here from defence. They must get the ball forward now. With the possession, they can't afford to waste too many opportunities. Here's Aguero now, has it on the near side. They may, and has that been kept in? It hasn't. That's frustrating. I actually thought he kept that in, but well, the linesman on the far side must have very eagle eyes, because I didn't think that ball went out. But a referee and the assistant were adamant. So a free, or was it a foul? It might have been a foul actually. Free kick has been awarded to Newcastle, presumably for offside. There wasn't any fouls or infringements. Anyway, Newcastle made a complete mess of the free kick and had given Brighton a cheap throw-in. But now they need to maybe try and switch it to the right hand side. Bruno and March needed to get a good understanding going in quickly. Here is March back to Bruno, but it's still far away, still deep in their own half right now. They need to get out their own half. They have done now. Can they get it out to March? They can. He'll take on the defender Dummett and he'll whip him for pace. Still March pirouetting 2-3 times, takes on Ritchie, tries to get the cross in, he wins a throw in. But you can see the work rate and effort of Solly March. He's a terrific little footballer, and if Brighton do go down there, I think they'll be hard pressed to try and keep him at the Emirates for next season. But Bruno, who's got a good long throw repertoire, how they could do with one of these long throws, dropping to somebody like Glenn Murray who could turn and pirouette and equalise. They've gone short though. Now then, real opportunity here. They must get an equaliser from somewhere. Here is Bissouma for Brighton. Bissouma, Bruno's there with him. It's another throw into Brighton. Chris Hughton getting a little bit irate now. Time is against them now. 33 minutes to go plus any stoppages. Brighton must go for it now. They can't. They might as well do it at this stage of the proceedings. Ball played in towards the penalty spot from the far side. It's a throw in. Bernardo with the cross and away by Dummett. Brighton fans now starting to get behind the lads. It's Bruno, their boys, as the cross comes in. A deep one from Bruno. But he'll come here again for Bernardo again. He was surely fouled there by Atsu, but the referee didn't want to know. And no foul given. Newcastle will break away. And now there's a chance here for Rondon, but Bruno should get back there. And in fact win a throw-in off the big number 9 there for Newcastle. And Brighton get a throw-in. What a game this is turning out to be. Duffy's frustrated there. Chris Hughton knows the importance of this game now. 3 points could be also crucial to them, but at the moment they're not getting a desired result. And let's just check on what's happening in the Championship, of course. Sheffield United now lead by 2-0. O'Connell with the second one, and it looks as if Sheffield United are bar mathematically up now and will be playing Premier League football next season. I don't want to rub it into Russ Vernon when he hears this commentary back, but well, maybe his lead side just didn't do enough in the end. They've been on an horrendous run, but they will have a second chance in the playoffs. Norwich could conceivably go up tonight if they draw, or just avoid defeat really against Blackburn Rovers at Carrow Road this evening. We're coming up towards an hour gone here at the Amex Stadium in this big game that Brighton have to win. Solly March doing terrifically well. March now, he'll get it onto his left foot. March hits a defender, and it bounces away. Nothing going for Newcastle, for Brighton rather, in this second half. They are trying their best now. They're having a good spell here, but they need to score whilst they're on top. And here's Basuma for Brighton. They have one substitute left to play, remember. Bernardo has it on the left hand side. Looks to play the ball in, and it's not a good ball. And they appeal a corner, Brighton, and get it. Dubravka must have carried it out. It's a corner kick to Brighton. Coming up towards an hour gone. Just seeing a replay. What happened here? Did it come off? Oh, Dubravka might have carried that out. The ball was clearly not over the line there. He could have actually carried that out. But anyway, it's a corner to be taken by Gross on the near side. They dearly would love a goal here in these parts. The ball threaded in, and almost into the net. No, Duffy's headed it into the side netting, and he's hit the back netting, but not in the goal. The net rippled, but the wrong side. Gross with a terrific corner from the left-hand side, and it's hit the stanchion at the back of the goal. It's hit the right-hand stanchion, and it's hit the back netting, but not in the back of the net. Half the crowd actually thought it was in, but it wasn't. It's a goal kick. Excuse me. So we played an hour, nearly 61 minutes to be exact, and it's still 1-0 to Newcastle here on the Saturday game, coming to you live from Sussex, from Brighton and the Amex, a beautiful Amex Stadium here. And Brighton going again. They've got two men over. Solly March was one, but Basuma on the edge of the area. Shot comes in, and tell you what, it's back to the Wolves job now for Newcastle. Here's Bernardo now. Little chip in there from the left-hand side towards the back post. Murray will jump for the second ball with Dubravka, but Dubravka comes out on top. And also Fernandez helps him out. Well, we're getting towards what Sir Alex Ferguson would say, squeaky bum time. And Anthony Knockaert, who's come back from a free game ban for that horrible tackle, you may remember, and Adam Smith in the game here between them and Bournemouth, where Brighton went to a 5-0 defeat. Well, he's back now, and wouldn't it be a turn up if he was to come on and be the Seagulls hero from zero to hero? That would be a great story. He's a terrific player that rarely lets Brighton down, really. Anthony Knockaert, a terrific talent, and he certainly enjoyed his couple of years of Premier League football when he's worked so hard. Got shunned at Leicester City when they went up in 2014. He's come back with Brighton, and mind you, he's certainly a great talent. As Murray breaks the offside trap, but he's been forced. No, he hasn't broken the offside trap. For a moment he broke it then, but the linesman was maybe a little late with his flag, but maybe he was right. Let's have a look here. Well, he's coming back from an offside position anyway, and yeah, he looks half a yard off, but for one moment I thought he broke off. Took the linesman a good 5 or 6 seconds actually to put his flag up, which confused this particular commentator, because I thought he broke the offside trap there, and just for one split second I thought he was going to be in there, but he was forced a little bit wide anyway on the left hand side, so I'm not sure Brighton would have profited from that anyway. But the linesman, even though he took his time getting that flag up, he was right to do so. Well, we've had 63 minutes gone here at the Amex Stadium, and in 2 minutes time the voting for the JB Man of the Match will commence. Please get your votes in. You've got 25 minutes, remember. I'll explain the details when we open up in just over 90 seconds time. Here's Duffy to hit the ball, or Robert Dunk to hit the ball towards Solly March, and he found March magnificently. Now he'll take on Dummett on that right hand side. Beats Dummett, pirouettes him nicely into Murray. Little flick, and he almost fell inside the 6-yard area, but it fell for Dubravka. The little flick almost finding Glenn Murray, but Solly March again causing all sorts of problems for that Newcastle left hand side. Absolutely pirouetted, whooped Paul Dummett for face, and Glenn Murray in fact would have been offside anyway. If he had touched it, the goal would not have counted. 64 minutes gone, 6 minutes to play, but Brighton surely a goal's got to come from Brighton in the next few minutes unless Newcastle score again. And Atsu now breaks down the left hand side, no foul. And I was watching the linesman very closely there. Didn't put his flag across his chest or anything like that, or wave his flag in any way, shape or form to signal to the referee that was a free kick. Play on it is. Newcastle get a throw in on the far side. Well, it's all happening here. Remember, Sheffield United have done their bit. Now Leeds must try and better Sheffield United's result, which could be easier said than done, really. There has been some bad news from Germany. Jadon Sancho has had a coin thrown at him, and more bad behaviour really from spectators, where it just doesn't get any better. And I thought the German fans had a bit more class than that. Jadon Sancho apparently was hit by a coin. Brighton are playing much better in this second half. Basically, they've forced a couple of openings. I think Solly March has come on and made a real difference, but still haven't broken past this stubborn Newcastle defence. And still, we're going into 65 minutes. I just had to put a light on so I can see my notes. It's a little bit dark out there. So, the stage is set. Anthony Knockard's last appearance here ended in disgrace when he was stupidly sent off. When he stupidly got himself sent off after taking Adam Smith out in the 5-0 loss against Bournemouth 2 to 3 weeks ago. Now he's got a chance for redemption. Wouldn't it be a terrific story if he turned 0-0? Right, the voting has started for the JB Man of the Match award. You've got 24 minutes from now. All you've got to do, I'll remind you of the rule. I'll remind you how to do it in a second, because John Joe Shelby has picked the ball up, has run virtually on track, shoots, and it hits the defender, Magnific Duffy, and Brighton can get it away. Now the ball forward towards Solly March, but Dummett hooks it out for a throw-in. We'll try to knock it out for a throw-in, but the ball somehow stayed in play, and Brighton just have it with Bruno at the moment, and nothing really much is happening at the moment. But we'll just break off for a second, just see what Brighton are going to do here on this next attack, and before we give you the instructions for man of the match, because here's Solly March, who's certainly had an impact on this second half. Whips past the defender. Still a chance here for Brighton if they can get that ball into the area. Knockard is now on, and Murray can't get on the end of it, and Newcastle will have the opportunity to clear. Right, anyway, the ball almost out of play, and the ball is back now towards Lewis Dunk. Right, so the man of the match is now open now until the 90th minute. All you have to do, and the comments section there next to it, is vote for your man of the match. The name of the player of your choice you want man of the match to be awarded to, and hashtag it with the hashtag JBMLTM. It's important that you do that bit if you haven't already done it before. So the name of the player that you want to see win the JB man of the match, and hashtag it with the hashtag JBMLTM. That vote, if you do that, the vote will count, and the player with the most votes will win. Simple as that. So you've got 25 minutes just under now to go, 23 minutes to get your votes in, and if you do the hashtag as well, the JBMLTM, then the vote does count, but make sure you hashtag that. Anyway, back to the game, and here's Aguero. It's a poor cross by him, or rather number 30 Bernardo, sorry, that was a poor cross by him, and Knockard has replaced Aguero incidentally. So Brighton have got 22 minutes to find an equaliser, and here's Murray now, edge of the area. I thought for a moment he might have got the shot off. The ball breaks though to Bruno. Can he get March down the right hand side? No. Paul Dummett sees to that. He stops him from getting any further forward. The referee's given a free kick to Newcastle, to the frustration of the Brighton supporters and for Bruno himself. Kennedy with the foul. Well, I think he makes a meal of that, the Brazilian, to be honest with you. There is a little push in the chest by Bruno, but Kennedy makes a meal of it for me, and most Brazilian players tend to do these days. Mark Lawrenson there, I'm just saying, former Brighton player, started his career at Preston and then went on to Brighton, and then went on to Liverpool to form a terrific defensive backline with Alan Hansen, winning the league championship and turned out for the Republic of Ireland so many years as well. Great servant for Liverpool and to Brighton as well, before he went on to greater triumphs at Anfield. Here's Solly March, who's just swapped wings now. He's gone on to the left-hand channel here, Solly March. Trying to outdo Manguillo for pace, but he did well there, the Newcastle man. It's a corner. Solly March will leave it to Pascal Gross to take from the left-hand side. The near side is look short to March. He'll get a cross in. Plenty of time to whip in. A good cross. It's only half away by Newcastle. Bissouma heads the ball back into the danger zone, but Newcastle had enough players back to get it away, and it's 3-on-2 in Newcastle's favour. And here they come again. It's Kennedy leading the line. It's Kennedy into the penalty area. Kennedy with a cross back, and it's well away from Solomon Rondon and behind. A rather wasteful opportunity there for Newcastle, who had a 3-on-2 in their favour there as they attack down the right. As Basie says, it reminds me of so much of the FA Cup semis against City. Well, I actually think it's been a much better game than that semi-final against Manchester City. I thought the game as a spectacle, but both sides was a poor game. But Brighton have had better opportunities in this game than they did at Wembley some 3 or 4 weeks ago. Meanwhile, here with just over 20 minutes to go, remember, JB man of the match. Choose your player, hashtag it with JB MLTM, please. You've got 20 minutes, remember, folks. 20 minutes. Key is going to come on for Newcastle as we go into the closing stages now. The last 20 minutes. Please get your votes in for JB man of the match. Otherwise, if you don't vote, then I'll have to decide on the 90th minute mark. And oh my goodness, I've got a big decision to make there, because so many players that could be worthy of man of the match. Could say Iosi Perez as well with his goal. Still his goal, but he's not on the pitch at the moment. He went off after 30 minutes. Please, try again, Basie. March, hashtag JB MLTM. So try again. Hashtag it. Doesn't matter if they win, lose or draw. There's a penalty appeal turned down. But here goes Brighton again on the right hand side, cross in, but it's too close to the goalkeeper. Basie, if you want to vote for Solly March, please do, but hashtag it please, JBMLTM. It's important you do that. The vote won't count if you don't hashtag it. I know you're a first timer, but I've reminded you 2 or 3 times now. So, I tell you what, I think Murray might have a case there for penalty, as I was explaining the rules for the man of the match vote. I think Richie was clumsy there. I think Murray should have had a penalty. Brighton fans are up in arms, but Brighton are building up a head of steam with 18 minutes left to play. Solly March, I certainly think in the second half is certainly, that's the one. Well, MLTM, but we'll give you that because you have hashtagged it, so Solly March does count. But in future it's MLTM. But never mind, it doesn't matter, you've hashtagged it, that's the important thing. Right, anyway, back with the game, and we're going to see a substitution here. Key is going to come on and replace John Joe Shelvey. So Basie has gone for Solly March. I've got to agree actually with him. I think March has made a huge difference since coming on at half time. So Solly March, even if Brighton were to lose, we're getting a little bit of a consolation in that respect, as March or rather John Joe Shelvey is making his way off the pitch. He could be a candidate for man of the match. If any Newcastle fans are listening, True Geordie, are you there? I doubt he'd want to listen to somebody like me, but anyway, here's Key, who comes on for Shelvey. Ball back to Barney de Brockenny, Newcastle goalkeeper. Remember, Newcastle are safe as houses now, and the ball now with the Newcastle goalkeeper. I think Cher, has got kept his armband now for the duration of the second half, which is now into the 70. We've had 73.5 minutes, so 16.5 left to play, plus any stoppage time, and it's Brighton. It's been Brighton's second half. There's no doubt about that, but they just need that scratch of luck and maybe a goal. Solly March is away again down that left-hand channel. He had to check for a moment to see if he was onside or not. Should have just gone with his instincts and just kept on going. Here is March again from the throw-in. He took the throw-in, and the ball back in there. That's a poor cross, and Brighton again miss out on the opportunity of potentially equalising and taking this to a grandstand finish. It's 600 and something like 26 minutes now without a goal for Brighton, but it's still very much in the offing here. One scratch of luck could turn the game. A draw for Brighton would not be a bad result, but they don't want to defeat, because the next two games are very, very tough ones against Manchester City, I think. No, it's not Manchester City. They've got them on the last day of the season. Arsenal before that at the Emirates. And it depends on what side Emery might have. They might have a chance there at Arsenal, who knows. But anyway, here's Bruno chipping the ball in there towards Murray, winning the header well, and a goal for Brighton! Their first run of 600 minutes! It's 1-1! And what a moment it is! It's Pascal Gross with a quarter of an hour to go! And how crucial that goal could prove to be! The Amex has gone absolutely wild with glee! And now they have 15 minutes to win it, Brighton. They have piled on the pressure, and finally get their deserved reward. Glenn Murray winning the first ball. Gross onside. De Bruyne absolutely nowhere. Poor goalkeeping from the Newcastle man. And Gross has scored a crucial goal. He may be their first going over 600 minutes, but to Brighton, who cares? They're back in it. And they've got a quarter of an hour now to win the game. Only his third goal of the season, but he won't care one jot, will Gross. That could be a crucial moment. And it's not great news for Cardiff City, because even if they were to draw, that's not good news, because the gap then would be 4 points. But they've still got a quarter of an hour left, and who knows? And here's March, who's made a huge difference, but he can't keep the ball in on the left-hand side. But Brighton have been much better in the second half, and Chris Hughton's team talk and his changes have worked an absolute treat. The Amex is back to its old carnival atmosphere as he was at the start of the night. The boos have been replaced by cheers. Even a fan has got a seagull on his head. That's how good it's been. Newcastle have just sat back and have just let Brighton attack them, and in the end they've worn Newcastle down. Now Brighton can sense a killing here. They must score another one. If they can get another one here, Brighton, they could go 6 points clear. And remember, they've got a better goal difference than Cardiff. Remember, Cardiff next go to Crystal Palace. And that could be a crucial game, and I'm sure, although Brighton and Palace are heated rivals, I'm sure they want Palace to do them a bit of a favour. Here's Keto for Newcastle United. 1-1 now in a very scintillating and dramatic Saturday game, coming to you here from the Amex Stadium. What a game it's turned out to be. At the bottom end of the table, it looked as if Brighton were just not going to break through. But by goodness, they didn't give in, and they've not given in all afternoon. That's a foul, and that will surely be a yellow card here against Basuma. Indeed it is. Professional foul there. Had to bring down Atsu because Atsu was getting away. I don't know, it's a yellow card offence. It was a good foul in actual fact for Yves Basuma to actually pick up there, because it stopped Newcastle from going further forward. It allows Brighton now to defend the set piece and bring a lot more bodies back to defend the situation a bit better, as that free kick comes into the mix once again, and a little bit dangerous there, and in the end Bernardo had to somehow usher that out at the right hand post for a corner. And now the ball down at the right hand end. Now the Newcastle fans who for a long period were having a bit of a party, now all of a sudden we're on the back foot. They have a corner now. Key to take, the former Swansea man, got relegated with them last season. There's another twist in this relegation battle. Key's corner was not a good one really. He didn't really clear the near post area, didn't really clear the first man in truth. Here's Atsu running at his defenders. He's got Hayden there with a decent looking cross, but there was just nobody in maroon and black waited in the centre. Share now plays it over to the far side and Richie goes forward. Richie still going forward to the left. Richie with a shot from the left hand side of the edge of the penalty area, left hand corner of the edge of the area as we look the far side, and it was charged away. But Brighton, no. It's a good. This is an interesting one. Did they stick or at 1-1 or did they twist? Well, for a moment then I thought Solly Marsh was going to twist then, go forward, but Pascal Gross brought him down. Brought a Newcastle player down, and Mike Dean, eagle-eyed as ever, gives the free kick. Although, I have to say, I think he got the ball there, Gross. I don't know. I don't think he got any of the ball now, looking at it again. I'm going to see Motto come on now, the Japanese player. And it's Atsu. Very unlucky in the way he's performed to not get a goal. So Solly March is leading the race for the Man of the Match award, and my goodness, he's made a huge difference. Who else wants to vote? Remember, the name of your player, please, and hashtag it with JBMOTM. As long as you hashtag it, the vote counts. Basie has voted, and at the moment Solly March is leading the race to the JB Man of the Match, and hopefully we'll have Russ listening in as well. He was due to commentate for us today, but got called up to cover Sheffield United potentially having a promotion party this evening. But it might be tomorrow before they can start celebrating, because if Leeds don't win in their match, and he's a Leeds supporter by the way, and it will be Sheffield United going up into the Premier League for the first time since 2007. 12 years they've been away from the top division. They've been relegated to the third tier in that time, and had a couple of 2 or 3 seasons in that division as well, but they came up from there last season, and Chris Wilder, who was a Sheffield United man through and through, has done a remarkably good job on no resources to get them into the position they're in right now. At the moment Leeds could well be in the playoffs along with West Brom, and Aston Villa have made certain of their place. Derby at the moment have Derby County at the moment not securing that final place, but they did their chances of world of good by winning at Bristol City this afternoon. A 10-man Bristol City team, incidentally. This is the goal again. Bruno with a lovely cross in from the right hand side. Murray winning the first header by the penalty spot, and Gross gambled, got their header to Brocker inside the 6-yard area and nodded it into the net, and cue scenes of absolute pandemonium, not just on the bench, but excuse me, but on the terraces. And there's still 8 minutes to play. Now then, what do you do if you're Chris Hughton? Do you stick with what you've got and take a point, or do you twist and go for the win? That's the conundrum now facing the Brighton boss at this moment in time. But here come Newcastle now, just starting to have a little bit more of the play after certainly a lot of dominance from Brighton. They might as well have a go at trying to win it. Here's Murray. Good ball out towards the near side. And here they go again. Bernardo into Solly March, who made a real difference since coming on as a half-time substitute for Andoni. He was really poor. Here's Stevens. And to Basuma. Basuma down on the far side. This is great. This is great performance. This has been a terrific second half performance from Brighton. Bruno, who's had a hand on the equaliser, has done really well. Stevens again. Gross has possession. Now Bernardo to March, trying to get Bernardo on his way, and Bernardo got him behind, and surely that's going to be a Brighton 3 kick, and it is. And Newcastle now on the back foot. A yellow card given to Muto, who's just come on. Maybe they've listened to you, Basie. They think they are going to try and get a... They've got to might as well throw everyone forward here. It's a clear foul there. Hello, Russ, to you as well. So Muto is now booked. There are 6.5 minutes to plus stoppage time to go. At the moment, Solly March is on for the Man of the Match award. And he's one of 2 men over the 3 kick. Pascal Gross the other. On the left hand side, it's going to be left to Gross to hit it into the area, and in the end Newcastle just about deal with that one okay, but Brighton now, they may as well go for it for the remaining 6 minutes. We've got a grandstand finish on here at the Amex. What a dramatic game it has been at the bottom end of the table. Brighton and Hove Albion have really gone for it in the second half and really took the game to Newcastle. A point would not be a disastrous result by any means, but 3 points would be even better as they go sieging again on goal, and Knockaert now having plenty to say for himself now. Anthony Knockaert, who was a villain 3 weeks ago for his horror tackle on Adam Smith, could make himself a hero if he puts a terrific corner into that danger zone now. Right hand side, left footed. Will they go short though? Or is he going to leave it for Pascal Gross? He's going to go for Pascal Gross. It's going to be Gross to take the corner. Don't worry, Russ. It's okay. Anyway, Solly Marsh is leading the race for that, incidentally. He came on as a second half substitute. As the ball comes into the area for Gross, and there was a little flick on, but it just wasn't a Brighton player gambling inside the 6-yard box to get a crucial touch. But what a game now. 5 minutes just under the goal. Bruno back defending for Brighton as Newcastle just hoof it forward. Basuma has the possession. Here's Marsh on the left hand side. And Basuma now infield. Dale Stevens. Stevens gets it out to the far side. And this now, it's all or nothing. Bruno coming forward. Now then, are we going to see a grandstand dramatic finish here? And now Knockaert on the far side. The right hand side gets the ball whipped in now. Knocked away by Fabian Schär. And away now back to Bruno. Again on the right hand side, still deep inside the Newcastle half, looking for Glenn Murray, and the goalkeeper gets there. And under a huge pressure from Glenn Murray, of course, but well taken by Marnie de Broca. 4 minutes to go, plus stoppage time. And as a commentator who's enjoying this game, can we have another 4 or 5 minutes, please? That would be my wish, and I'm a neutral, but I've enjoyed the second half immensely. It's been an amazing sort of second half. I've really enjoyed it, and it's been a hugely entertaining game of football. But you've got to give both teams an awful amount of credit. If Newcastle dominated the first half, it's certainly been Brighton's second half. It's been a real game of two halves. Manquillo has it on the right hand side for Newcastle. Ball left in, and the goalkeeper almost made a hash of it there, right behind, but it came to Bruno, but he's lost it, and the shot comes in from the left hand side, and Kennedy hits it over the top and behind for a goal kick. And Brighton don't have much time to take their time. 3 minutes to go. Ryan, a very lucky guy there. Get it half away, and then Bruno didn't make a good clearance either. They got away with it. Now then, can Brighton cash in on that bit of fortune there and try and get a winning goal? Less than 3 minutes to go plus stoppage time. Dale Stevens has it. 5 yards inside the Newcastle half. Now Bernardo touches it back to Basuma. Basuma now from Lewis Dunk, who's had his usual marvellous game at the back for Brighton this evening. 1-1 is the score as we go into the closing stages here at the Amex, and what a game it has been. Knockaert has it on the far side. What a game it has been. Back to Bruno once again as the sun sets here in Sussex. Knockaert plays a ball now towards the near side. Bernardo touches it on to Solly Marsh, who's had a terrific influence in this second half. Good intelligent ball to Bernardo. Gets the goal into the area again. Murray almost getting in there, and Schär getting a touch there. Crucially for Newcastle. Backs to the wall now for Raffles Benitez's side. It's all Brighton and Hove Albion. Here's Lewis Dunk going forward. Finds it to Solly Marsh. Trying to take on all comers as well as 8 defenders there, Solly Marsh, but it comes back to Basuma again. The Seagulls looking for the winner. Just over 100 seconds remaining. 90 seconds left of normal time. There will be at least, I would assume, 4 or 5. I hope 4 or 5 minutes get signalled, because what a dramatic game we've got ourselves here. As a ball played in there towards Murray, chested it all down. He's stayed on side crucially. Has to get it back towards Bernardo. Back to Solly Marsh again. Marsh with a lovely little chip, but there's just nobody towards the far side there. And away goes away, go Newcastle again, but it's going to be coming back at the Bay. Basuma, who finds Bernardo. March has made a run as well to the left hand side, and he's been fouled. March with the cross, deflected. It's a corner kick to Brighton. Off Share, and a corner kick. What a dramatic game. We're into the final minute of normal time. Are we going to see a late winner for Brighton and Hove Albion? If they win this game, they go 6 points clear. And remember, they have a better goal difference than Cardiff. This is a crucial moment in the relegation twist. Are we going to see one more twist here in this relegation scrap? Newcastle are already safe. Burnley are already safe. Southampton are already safe this afternoon. Gross to the bars of our post, and the goalkeeper De Broca got something on it. And now Knockaert. Knockaert now sizes up the cross into the area. It's over the top from 3 yards out. Glenn Murray heads it over the bar, and Brighton were within an ace of effectively staying in the Premier League. 3 added minutes. That's all we're going to be given. Bit of a disappointment for us neutrals out here. The flag stayed down. Murray just couldn't keep his header down. And that would have been the crucial moment in Brighton and Hove Albion's whole season. And the All Amex. They hold their heads. It was one. That's still Brighton. You still feel are in the ascendancy. They're the team. They're going for it, and I don't think the Brighton fans can criticise. And I can tell you now that Solly March is the JB man of the match. Not bad for a man who came on at half-time, but he's changed the course of the game and has put in some terrific balls. But here, March might get on the end of this. March gets on the end of it, but he can't. Headed the ball goalwards there. Well, he headed it goalwards, but not with great power. Towards the left of the penalty spot, and De Broca now will waste as much time as he can within the rules of the game. 2 of the 3 added minutes left to play. I'm certain there's going to be one last chance for Brighton and Hove Albion. Newcastle will be, I think, satisfied with a point now if you'd offered it them at this stage of proceedings. They did lead through a goal after 18 minutes by Rosie Perez, who later went off with an injury. But my word, it's been a remarkable evening's football down on the south coast, and there still might be another 90 seconds of high drama to come, because we're halfway through the 3 added minutes of stoppage time. But it's Newcastle in possession with Share back inside to Key down the former Swansea man, banks of experience behind him. We'll try and run the clock down. But what a dramatic second half, and what a great second half Brighton have put in. A terrific effort. And a point is still not a bad result really in terms of where they are. With Cardiff losing, it's not a bad result. But how they would dearly have loved 3 points from this if they just couldn't. If they could just kept a clean sheet up for half time, they might have even won this game. I don't think they're going to win the game now, but my goodness, they've given us a real thriller in the second half, and for that we have to be grateful. Well done, Chris Hughton's man. They were poor in the first half, I have to say. They were passive, a lot of pundits would say, when a side is going through the motions and just can't get it together. But in the second half, they've been a completely different side. 30 seconds of stoppage time left to play. I should also stress, by the way, the 3 minutes is a minimum of time. There could still be more stoppage time that Mike Dean may want to add on for any time wasted. I have to say that Newcastle haven't time wasted too much, because Brighton have had most of the ball. They do get a throw in. We've got 15 seconds minimum to go. Will they allow this final attack from Brighton? 5 seconds remaining. They can't afford to mess about here, Brighton. They must get on with it very quickly. Murray will get another throw in and another chance, will he? Yes. They'll have time to take it. We've played over the 3 minutes, and Gross, he should be taking the throw. He's going to leave it for Bernardo. They haven't much time to mess about here. They must get it into the area if they want to win the game. March now. Can he get the ball in? He's faced by 2 Newcastle defenders. And March manages to get the cross in. And still Newcastle defending like their life depended on it. Still seconds remaining, and there we goes, the final whistle. Well, Brighton have not done enough this week to stay up, but a point may well go some way. They go 4 points above Cardiff with a superior goal difference, and now they'll be hoping that Crystal Palace can do them the hugest favours. They're big rivals who take on Cardiff, at the Cardiff City Stadium next weekend. So Brighton have played 36, have 35 points from those 36 with a minus 22 goal difference. Cardiff, who are third bottom, are 4 points behind with 31 points from 36, but have a massive minus 36 goal difference. So maybe that extra goal difference, well, effectively puts them 5 points clear. But that goal from Groves could be the most crucial goal of the lot. Newcastle did lead after 18 minutes for Jose Perez, who had to go off with an injury, replaced by Kennedy. Newcastle go to 42 points, incidentally, and their unbeaten record now stretches to 3 games. They played really well in the first half. I thought Newcastle, but Brighton really gave it a real go in the second half, and I felt deserved at least a share of the spoils. And the Brighton fans, to be fair, are clapping everybody in a blue and white striped shirt off the field, because they know they put in a humongous second half effort in order to try and get a point here at the Amex this afternoon. Sheffield United have beaten Ipswich by 2-0. Goals from Hogan, Scott Hogan and Jack O'Connell could have put the Blades well on target for the Premier League. Norwich only need to draw or win their match against Blackburn in a few moments from now. In fact, I think they've kicked off in that game now, I think, at Carroll Road. You'll be able to hear that on Talk Sport a little bit later on if you are going to reach you after we finished here. In a few moments time we'll hopefully get a little bit of reaction from one or two of the protagonists before 7:25 to 8 here at the Amex. And Brighton getting a great standing ovation. They know the fans will play. They know the fans that Brighton played well. Burnley will play the top flight, I can confirm, for the first time for 4th successive season since 1971, when they were relegated that season. Remember, we've got Burnley Manchester City, but on a delay stream. The game takes place tomorrow at 2 in the afternoon, but we'll have it on a delayed stream later on Monday afternoon for you. And but the game kicks off at 2:05. The reason why we're having it on delayed is purely and simply is we haven't time to cover it live. I've got other things to do, so we're going to actually do the game as a recorded commentary and play it to you from on Sunday or on Monday afternoon. So there we go. But a marvellous occasion, a marvellous performance. And I've got to say, I deserve points at least for Brighton. On another day, they could have had all 3. But having said that, I don't think they'll grumble with a point, Brighton, considering where they were at half-time. And Norwich kick off around about 4 minutes' time, in fact. All they've got to do is avoid defeat at Carroll Road tonight against a certain team who I love to mention. And they will be back in the Premier League, and I think a great ground like Carroll Road should be gracing Premier League football, like also Bramall Lane should be gracing Premier League football, Howard Road, Villa Park. It's going to be a massive battle in those playoffs, some massive teams in those playoffs. Derby County are still in the mix. 3 of the 4 playoff spots have already been decided. Potentially the first one, the third place, could be still between Sheffield United and Leeds, but it looks like, sorry Russ, it could be Leeds that are going into the playoffs and not Sheffield United. And then behind Leeds you've got West Bromwich Albion, who came from behind to sadly relegate plucky old Rotherham United. And there will be a lot of disappointment in Russ's hometown tonight, I'm certain about that, but they had a great goal. I'd like to get your opinions on the relegation of Rotherham as well, Russ, if you wouldn't mind. I know it would be probably painful because it's your hometown and that, and I know you're not a Rotherham fan, but it is your hometown, and it must be frustrating seeing all your friends who are maybe Rotherham fans in big trouble. But West Brom are already in the playoffs. Villa, who have been on a terrific run themselves actually, and won 10 straight games. They play Leeds incidentally tomorrow actually as well. So there you go. Yeah, Paul Warner's done a terrific job down there at the, I was going to say Millwall, but it's the New York Stadium now, and I have to tell you that you know, they just needed to better Millwall's result, and they may well have stayed up, but it wasn't to be, I'm afraid, for them, and that's a real shame. They're a good little club, well run. Paul Warner's done an exceptional job as a manager down there at Rotherham, and I've no doubts that they may well be back, and I think they'll be amongst the favourites, the bookies' favourites, to go back up next season. And it's, you know, but who will replace them? And Ipswich Town, and I don't know who the other team was actually who went down. Bolton Wanderers, whose game got postponed because of the players going on strike. And the EFL have said in a statement today that they have to fulfil their fixtures as well. And yeah, I would expect those emotions. But Millwall drawing against Stoke was enough to see them up for next season. So you've got to say, as much as it's gut-wrenching to see Rotherham go down, congratulations must go to Neil Harris's side. And for digging in and getting a positive result at home to Stoke today. Was never a pretty game by the sounds of it. They got what they needed though. But very unlucky Rotherham, but I hope they bounce back at the first attempt, and it'd be good to see them back in the Championship. They really do terrifically well. Well, Brighton have got a positive result here today. They go 4 points clear, but they'll be hoping that Crystal Palace, their deadly rivals, can do them a favour. That would be some novelty, that really, because both Brighton and Palace don't seem they have this very, very big rivalry. But Palace, I'm sure, will want to. If Palace help Brighton out, I think the rivalry might just diminish a little bit there. But having said all that, Brighton have helped themselves a bit today. First half they were not at the races, it's got to be said, but in the second half Chris Hughton must have had a few choice words or put something very, very spectacular in that half-time cup of tea, because in the second half with that massive change, of course, Solly March coming on, it really made the huge difference and got them back in the game. Well, we're hoping to hear from one or two of the protagonists. Hopefully we'll hear from one or two Brighton players with Des Kelly. Then we'll have to break off in a few moments time. And well, he's always seen positives from minuses, isn't he? Hopefully he'll see some EFL trophy games. I still know it is the Johnson's Plate competition, actually, to be fair. But having said all that, Brighton have done themselves good. Cardiff really didn't do themselves justice on the day over at Fulham, because they knew if they could get a result there, then the pressure would even be more so on Brighton, but they couldn't get a result. They were poor really throughout, and in the end a goal from Ryan Babel sealed defeat for the Welsh side this afternoon. Southampton have stayed up mathematically after a 3-3 draw with Bournemouth, and I saw the scenes at the end, emotional scenes there with Ralph, who's at Hurdle. Wolves have beaten Watford, and Spurs have lost their first match in the new White Hart Lane Stadium, losing by 1-0. The winning goal scored by Mikel Antonio for West Ham United. A great win there, and a little bit of luck there falling for West Ham, who haven't had the best of luck really in recent games, certainly with referee decisions. So delighted that West Ham have got a crucial 3 points. Well, it's been a massive day at the bottom of the Premier League. Ralph Rosenhertel's side have stayed up mathematically. Brighton haven't done that yet, but maybe that 1 point could still be enough to get them through now. So 4 points the gap at the moment, and what a game it has been here down at the Amex. I don't think we're going to get any reaction now, because I think we've practically run out of time. And if you want to listen to the Irish game, folks, tune over to Talk Sport 2 and you'll be able to listen to that game, or if you're watching it on television, you'll be able to watch it on Sky. But until then, have a fantastic Saturday evening. We'll be back on Monday for that stream, for that delayed stream between Burnley and Manchester City. Burnley already safe now, could have a big save potentially in where the title goes tomorrow afternoon. The game kicks up at 5 tomorrow, but we'll have a delayed stream 24 hours later on the Monday afternoon, and that will be then. Okay, recorded commentary tomorrow, and then the delayed stream being played out on the Monday afternoon. So watch out for that. That's our next live. That's our next commentary on the JB Clark YouTube channel. But our live offerings are over for another weekend. We saw Liverpool hit 5 past Huddersfield to go put themselves 2 points clear, but what a great second half performance. They trailed and looked like losing heavily to Newcastle the way Newcastle were playing in the first half, but Brighton in the second half, a team transformed, got an equaliser, and Glenn Murray so close to all but sealing their survival. But 1 point is not a bad result. The pressure is still very much on Cardiff. It will go to the next week, and if Cardiff do not match the Brighton score next week, then it's Cardiff who go down. So the relegation battle between Cardiff and Brighton goes to another week, but Brighton very much in the driving seat. It's finished 1-1 here at the Amex tonight. I hope you enjoyed our commentary tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Enjoy Match of the Day a bit later. But for me, JB, have a fantastic evening. Take care, and we'll see you all for that delayed commentary of the game that's being played tomorrow between Burnley and Manchester City on Monday afternoon for our delayed commentary. So join us then if you can on Monday afternoon / Monday tea time. But until then, have a fantastic evening, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Good night.